Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we have my match week 3 review of the Premier League. Apologies for not releasing this yesterday, but I got pulled into a YouTube playlist yesterday, and whenever that happens to me, I end up just watching it all, and the video was like, and it was like 20 videos in like 20 minutes, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I say we just get straight into it today. First match, we have Brentford versus Crystal Palace. These two, it's not really much to say on this one because these two always seem to draw. Great goal from Anderson. Kevin Shade from Brentford, obviously they made his loan deal from last season permanent, and he looks like a proper talent, and if he keeps getting game time he could be quite the prospect. In terms of stats, it was pretty even. Shots 15 to 12, though Brentford did only have one shot on target, which I guess you could say does show that they need to rely on Ivan Toney. But seeing their performances so far this season, I think they'll be just fine. Until obviously they'll be better when Toney comes back, but I think they will be just fine. Possession was mainly dominated by Brentford, which shows that they do still have a way to control the game even without the talisman. And there was thankfully no red cards in this game, which is very surprising. Seeing as how we got. So currently Brentford are sitting in 9th and Palace are sitting in 11th place. Apart from that, two kind of mid-table clubs again doing well to get a point off of each other. Next up, we have a more interesting match. No offence to any Palace or Brentford fans. Arsenal 2, Tottenham 2. Now this is the first of the comeback dramas I'm talking about in the thumbnail. Arsenal go 1-0 down in the first minute. Then they manage to get themselves back up to 2-1. Then Fulham get a player sent off, and then somehow they managed to score even when down to 10 men. It was a bit of a spineless performance from Arsenal, not going to lie, and I think it shows that they're still a way away from being actually able to compete for the title the whole season. Because if you see the end of last season, they had a big dip of inconsistency, and this season we're starting to see the inconsistency earlier. And it's not like this is the first sign of it either. Both of their first win of the season against Forest, it was only a 1-goal win, and then against Palace, who are a classic mid-table team in the Prem, it was only because of a penalty that they won that game. So the signs have been showing. It really was dominated by Arsenal here. We can see 19 shots to 8, 11 shots on target to 3, 72% possession that Arsenal had. So it's not like Fulham dominated the game, so they deserved the win. Arsenal dominated, Arsenal dominated the game and somehow still didn't come out with it. So that's what I mean by the inconsistency. Obviously, yet again, another red card. Getting a bit ridiculous with these. Currently, Arsenal are sitting in 5th place, just outside the top 4 on goal difference, and Fulham are sitting down in 12th. Next up, we have, I would probably say this is the shock result of the week. Brighton 1, West Ham 3. Now Brighton had started the season incredibly, and I was actually pretty scared of what they were going to be able to do for this season, but West Ham really just came in and wrecked them. Like, at the beginning of this season, after selling West Ham and not buying anyone, selling Declan Rice and not buying anyone, I really thought the Hammers were destined for another relegation battle season, but I actually don't know. I feel like they could get mid-table again this season. Ward-Prowse has been an inspiration to this team. Obviously his free kicks are always great, and in this game he actually scored a goal that wasn't from a free kick, which I actually didn't know was possible, from James Ward-Prowse. So yeah, Ward-Prowse, Bowen, Antonio, Pascal Gross got one back at the end, but it didn't matter. If we look at the stats wise, this is probably the most interesting, because West Ham only had 22% possession, and still with that with that possession they managed to keep out Brighton and go up the other end and score 3 times. Brighton had 25 shots in this game and 10 on target, and they only managed 1. It was quite a foul heavy game with 19 fouls over the 2 teams. So yeah, they were. But yeah, congratulations to West Ham, obviously sitting 2nd in the league right now. That's definitely not going to last, but I do think they're going to do better than I originally thought. Brighton still doing well, currently sitting 6th in the league, just 1 point out of the top 4. Next up, we have a game that could have been the shock of the week if it wasn't for a player. We have Sheffield United, Man City. Obviously, Man City won 2-1. I was obviously so happy when Bogle sort of managed our wrong man to equalise, but then Rodri just had to go up and score. Like, I thought we had finally got away from a clutch Manchester City player, but no, Gundogan's gone, Rodri takes his place. Haaland didn't have a great game, no, he obviously did score, but he missed a penalty, had a few bad misses, which is nice to see that the robot is actually capable of missing. In terms of shots, City absolutely dominated, but they actually, from their 30 shots, only 9 were on target. Possession was dominated by City, 80% possession, so it was admirable of Sheffield United to be able to keep it at a respectable scoreline, because a lot of people, including me, were probably expecting like a 4-0 result from this game. So yeah. Again, no red cards in this game, which is a miracle. And in terms of the table, Man City the only team left already that hasn't dropped points, which is actually quite surprising. I would have thought there would have been at least 1 more, but hey-ho. And Sheffield United are one of the 4 teams who still haven't won a game. To be fair, Burnley and Luton have only played 2 because they were meant to play each other, but obviously Luton Stadium isn't ready yet. But they are just sitting outside the relegation zone on goal difference right now. Speaking about Burnley, we have 3-1 against Aston Villa. Cash scoring 2 and Diaby with 1, and Lyle Foster scoring 1 for Burnley. It was a pretty routine victory, I think. Obviously, Aston Villa under Unai Emery are definitely going places. So I think this is if they want to be going to the places that Unai Emery is meant to lead them, I think they have to be able to dispose of Burnley pretty quickly. So in that respect, that's good. But I'm actually quite disappointed from a Burnley standpoint. I really thought they were going to come in and shock the Premier League and get a mid-table finish, but it looks like they will be in a relegation battle this season. In terms of the stats here, it was pretty much in terms of shots and all that kind of stuff. It was definitely dominated by Aston Villa, but Burnley actually had more possession, which is a good sign that company ball can work. But to be fair, Burnley have had a difficult few games. Have had a difficult 2 games to start the season. No reds again, which again, miracle. Pardon me. We also have Aston Villa is sitting in 7th place, and just like Brighton, 1 point out of the top 4. Burnley currently sitting just inside the relegation zone in 18th, with yet again being there on goal difference. I also just realised I forgot Spurs Bournemouth because that was early in the week, but it was a pretty good performance by Spurs. Just give me a second and I will get it up. I completely forgot about that. This is my bad. So yeah, it was James Maddison, Kulusevski. They're doing quite well without Kane, which I actually didn't expect. But Postecoglou ball seems to be working quite well. And he's actually a really funny manager. All of his press conferences and interviews have actually been really funny. I mean, I feel like we need more managers in the league like that. So yeah, good on. It was pretty even in terms of shots, 17-11. Bournemouth kept themselves in the game, 43% possession. But Spurs were just too much for them. But with this new era, it wasn't too bad for Bournemouth. Spurs currently sitting third place in the league. They're on goal difference, and Bournemouth are currently sitting 16th in the league with still not having had a win yet. But I think both Spurs and Tottenham will be just fine by the end of the season. But don't quote me on that, because obviously I'm not a genius. Now, finally, to the match that I want to talk about. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. So many things to talk about here. First of all, my GOAT Darwin Núñez is the best player of all time. Do not come at me. But yeah, in all seriousness, Trent made that mistake, which let Gordon through, and then 3 minutes later Van Dijk got sent off. It was looking really bleak for us, but I admire the lads for the shift they put in. They defended really well for that time. Gomez and Matip were actually looking like they could defend, which did shock me, because they looked like they can never. In pre-season they looked absolutely awful. So I'm glad. I hope they can keep that up, because obviously I think Ibou will be back next week, but obviously Van Dijk will still be out suspended. And Kwanzaa making his Premier League debut, I think he actually looked really good and composed. He did come out after the game saying that he did not expect to come on the pitch, so that's why he didn't have any nerves or anything, because obviously 1-0 down, a man down as a youngster, you wouldn't expect to make your Premier League debut at that time, so it was kind of just adrenaline. Yeah, it was kind of just adrenaline, but he put in a really good performance, and I feel like there's no need to send him out on loan, and he can be a useful asset. Though I do think Nat Phillips should still get a better try. And then after all that good defending, we have the man, the myth, the legend coming on. 77th minute, Klopp finally brings Darwin Núñez on. 4 minutes later, Jota puts him through. It's a bad mistake by Botman, to be fair, but he puts him through. And Núñez, who last season missed so many easy chances, like all us Liverpool fans love him, but we can all admit last season he missed so many easy chances. So I think we all might have had a bit of a taken a bit of a breath as we were waiting to see whether he would score or not. But he looked really composed, put it into the back of the net, off of the post, and if he can keep this consistent, I think this kind of confidence will hopefully spur him on to really kickstart his Liverpool career. And then just over 10 minutes later, as one of the last actions of the game, he went through again, basically in the same exact position. I don't think Harvey actually gets enough praise for what he did. He blocked the pass originally, which he gave the ball to Salah, who put an excellent through ball to Darwin, and again he looked really composed, put it in off the post, and he was our hero that day. From Newcastle perspective, really poor. We were down to 10 men. The game was about 96 minutes, so we were down to 10 men for 68 minutes of the game, and they didn't manage to capitalise on that. And even if they just wanted to keep the win, all they had to do was defend. But Núñez came on. For some reason, it shook them up, and it was disgraceful from Newcastle. Talking in an unbiased way, I don't know how the hell they managed to mess that up, but I'm glad they did. And I think Núñez has found his confidence now to really kickstart his Liverpool career, and I really hope Klopp uses that and starts him against Villa next week. Anyway, in terms of stats, you can just see how much domination there was from Newcastle, which is to be expected, seeing as we were down to 10 men. 23 shots to 9, 8 shots on target to 4. They had 60% possession, which is actually less than I thought. Watching the game on Sunday, I thought they had a lot more possession than that. But yeah, obviously another red card in the Premier League, but all that matters is that we came back and we had victory. In terms of the league table, that puts us 4th, just in the top 4 on goal difference, but we could also have been 2nd place if we did score that late chance we had. So we're definitely, I feel like we are definitely in the running for the title this season. 7 points from 9 definitely isn't a bad return, especially when one of the teams is another team that's in a rebuild era, so that was kind of a strange game to open up on. Then the good performance against Bournemouth, and now this against Newcastle. I think we will be back in contention, and I'm happy about that because last season was oof. And for Newcastle, they had a great start to the season, beating Villa 5-1, but since then they just haven't been able to manage it. Against Man City, I don't blame them at all. Like, it's Man City. If you go to the Champions and win, it's a miracle. So only a few teams were able to do that last season. Us at Anfield, Man U at Old Trafford, Brentford managed to do a double over them, which is still ridiculous. But yeah, I think Newcastle are going to be just fine. They'll be around the European places at the end of the season. Yeah, they'll be around European places at the end of the season. But for now, it's just a good win for us to help us on our title bid. But that is the end of the video for now. I do just want to say that this background footage you're watching, I did go on to win it, but it was just a crazy game. So please do not slate me off in the comments, because I did end up winning it, and I know that was one of the weirdest goals of all time, the one that Newcastle just scored. But yeah, I did end up winning it, so please don't slate me. But yeah, apart from that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share with your friends if you think they would enjoy it. And yeah, for now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later.